and gentlemen, welcome back to Planet Tyro. I'm your host, Donald Wonder. And this time, guys, it's time we talk about the Age of Ultron. Now, I know here in the UK we get to see these Marvel movies first for some reason. Apparently it's due to some American copyright or blah, blah, blah. But yeah, we did see it. Me and a couple of my friends, you know, the Tyro council that you're used to. And we all had a round table about the movie. I do want to say we do not get into any major spoilers. There is a much more unedited version of this video, but I'm cutting this down to the 10-minute version. No spoilers, so you guys can just hear our thoughts on it. And suffice to say, I was impressed with how this movie turned out. And if you want to hear more, stay tuned.
Tyro Media.
Alright guys, so we're back from the Avengers Age of Ultron movie. We're using a different camera, which I actually like the quality on, which is neither here nor there. And the common consensus for the movie is people are saying it's good, but not as good as the first movie. So first of all, guys, just sporadically, is this better than the first movie? If not, why? Or tell me what you guys think of that comparison.
Okay, so I don't think it's as straightforward as that. I don't think you can compare them because they're two completely different films. So
Okay.
I'm not saying yes or no.
Alright.
I actually enjoyed it more than the first one.
Okay.
I think in terms of comic book movie, it doesn't really get any more comic book than this, so it is better in that sense. But the first one was a crowd-pleasing movie. So if you're just a casual fan who doesn't really give up too much about the backstory, or like the actual comics that it's based on, then you like the first one better because it's a comedy and it's full of action. But this has all the far-fetched storylines, all the sci-fi, all the nonsense. This is a 5-year-old kid's dream come true. So yeah, this is the better Marvel movie because it has actually everything that Marvel was about in it. It has a scene where an android talks to a robot about the meaning of life. So there you go.
I actually, well, you guys are going to hear me say it, but I actually agree with you, Simon. I think the Marvel Cinematic Universe is building a story that has built upon Captain America 2 and Avengers 1. And when this movie starts out, I think it starts from that pace. And I do feel like, maybe not a hindrance against the movie, that if you've watched those movies, it feels like it's carrying on from them. If you come in cold into this one, I don't know if you might feel a bit lost or you just won't feel the connection. I don't think this works as well as a standalone movie as it does if you've watched the first one. And in that sense, I agree with Ori, where I don't think you should really compare them because I do feel like this is a stepping stone as a story-driven narrative, which I have to give credit to Joss Whedon for. Tell me what you liked about the movie, guys.
Okay, well, I personally like the intimate relationship that is significantly hinted at between Natasha Romanoff, right?
Black Widow, yeah?
Black Widow.
Played by Scarlett Johansson, and Hulk Banner character played by Mark Ruffalo. I thought it provided a really cool, sweet contrast to, you know, the relationship they certainly had in the first one, which is more than her running away from the Hulk and him getting really fucked off at her. Oh, excuse my language.
Oh.
No, that's fine.
Sounds like a first date with Chris Brown. Yeah.
So I really like that. I mean, obviously there is still that kind of tension there. You'll see it when you see the film in terms of her trying to basically calm him down so that he could return back to the banner form from being Hulk. But I really like that. I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah, well, I like spectacle, like big action and all that. If I'm gonna go,
Scale, motherfucker!
If I'm going to cinema, big screen to watch something, I want to see some shit. And we saw some shit. So action, like, and following on for like what Ori said, like it's more combinations, more teamwork going.
Yeah.
Now the Avengers established, and more of that, like combinations of like Captain America and Thor, and then Hulk and Black Widow, and there's more characters and put in extra new characters, and I felt the balance was better.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the first one, like Hawkeye got the short end of the stick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But and everyone else kind of had their moment. I feel like here, everyone did have their moment and had their parts with, and it also made up for Hawkeye.
Well, yeah,
last time as well.
He's like almost like he takes over the movie. Anyway, I'm gonna pick up from where you left off and say what I liked about it is that ever since Christopher Nolan kind of left the Dark Knight movies, you know, we needed like a new standard, and all the standalone Marvel movies don't do it, and the DC movies are just like awful. So what I liked about them, when it comes to the highest end filmmaking, this is it. Like the budget in this was incredible. Every action scene was CGI is amazing. They don't hold back any punches. Like, what was the last action sequence in the previous movie, the first Avengers?
The alien invasion. I guess.
Yeah, basically the New York invasion. That's every action scene in this movie. Every single action scene involves all the Avengers working together, working separately. You have the Hulk tearing the place apart every single way. The villain is much bigger. Yeah. The stakes are even higher. So in terms of just that high-end filmmaking where every single aspect of the production is raised to another level and it kind of sets a new standard, this is it.
So being critical, guys, and we need to be critical because we can't be dick riding everything out on the cinema because everybody always does that. If anything, what didn't you like or what didn't you think doesn't work?
In all honesty, I'm not anywhere near as familiar with the comics. Like, ask me about X-Men, I've got a bit more of a clue. And I haven't actually seen like the first Captain America. And the first Captain America I haven't actually seen. I've seen all the Hulk movies. So I do think it's worth me maybe going back and watching the first Captain America, or trying to. I found it quite hard to watch actually, just because I wasn't as invested in it. But yeah, I do think standalone movie wise, it's definitely one for fans, like the comic book fans. It's not,
Yeah, and outside of the Avengers, they kind of throw in a few cameos from other people from the other movies, and I thought that was a nice touch, but at some point it's just becomes a little awkward, kind of shoehorned in towards the end.
Right? If I can go on a mini rant, that War Machine character never made sense to me. Like, Rhodey Rhodes is a good character. Like, he's a good character to Tony Stark to have a friendship with, because he's always serious and a military guy, and Tony Stark never gives a crap and selfish and, you know, kind of arrogant. But the War Machine is just like, so you made another armor that doesn't work for you, but only works for this other guy who just shoots stuff, and he's like, War Machine. I'm like, give him a good, proper alter ego, not like an Iron Man light, they're not like Batman and Robin. It just doesn't really work. And even here, they just give him stuff to do in the background, where I much rather see the Falcon guy from Captain America.
Well, he did make a good appearance, a few appearances, which is cool.
But he doesn't really get in on the action.
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly, I would have liked to have seen just a bit more from the Quicksilver character and Scarlet Witch, actually. Okay. Just a bit more.
Okay.
Like, I understood and actually believed their passion in what they were doing.
True, yeah, so do I.
How they started off and where they ended up. I got it. But just a bit, maybe a bit more of their backstory or something. Just something a little bit more. Alright,
well, we will wrap this up a bit quicker than expected, but I will say we have to give our last impressions to wrap this up on Ultron. What do you guys think of Ultron, the whole concept of him? Because nerdy-ish again, but it is a different inception from the comics. But I will say, I think it was very well done. I actually like how he came about. It was a lot more quicker than I thought it would be, but it made sense, and I actually like the way they handled Ultron. And some people have complained that Ultron, from reviews I've read already, they didn't think he was the best villain in this movie, and he was a bit underwhelming.
Well, I'm kind of, from the comics and stuff, I'm used to him being a lot more dangerous.
Yeah, exactly what people are saying.
He kind of really didn't do much. He could have done a lot more considering what he's capable of. And it kind of takes a step back seat for some of the movie, and kind of forget about him at some points.
That's what people said. I kind of disagree, but that's what a lot of people are saying. What do you, in your time, I think?
Well, because I haven't read the comic books in that depth, so I'm coming at it cold, so to speak. And from what I know of Thanos, which is obviously shown at the end.
Yeah, the main villain.
The main villain.
The big boss.
I actually think Ultron was kind of enough.
Actually, this ties into my only big criticism of the movie, that I heard somewhere online that the original cut was over 3 hours.
Oh, okay, I never heard that.
This is just a 2 hour, 20-minute movie. And you can tell that the editing increases in speed at the second half. Like, it gets a little bit more choppy. Like, the story of Ultron is not a strong one. It's something you've seen before a lot. Even Joss Whedon's writing, after criticizing geeks for this is their movie, I'm gonna geek out and say, and his run on Astonishing X-Men, the second one, Dangerous, the Danger Room comes to life and becomes a robot, builds himself a body. That's what happens in this movie. So even he already told the story several times before and told it better because it was on a smaller scale. So because it's so big, it is like a comic where the core story is not that strong, but if you're into the mythology, then eventually it's going to lead to something bigger. So it really is about how much you're invested in. But in terms of a movie on a grand scale, right now there's nothing that gets close to it. There are several, just on a side note, there are several scenes that directly tackle what DC's doing in terms of movies like Man of Steel. Yeah. And they just, it's more or less Joss Whedon looking like, okay, motherfucker, this is how you do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Just to cap on Simon said, we're gonna leave it. They did actually make a point to show you this is how you deal with the bad guy and deal with an evacuation or care for the people. Where I felt like in Joss Whedon did make a point to do that. Where in the first Avengers movie, even he didn't. Yeah. So I won't even say he always did that. No, I felt like in this movie they made a serious point to show you this is how we save the people, which is a big deal, and this is how we beat Ultron at the same time. But then again, in the defense of Man of Steel, there was only one Superman, and there was like 8 Avengers, so.
But he's Superman.
All right, guys, let's stop there. Suffice to say, Age of Ultron is a first-class movie without a doubt. This is the pinnacle of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and in most ways, especially in storytelling, this is a better movie than the first one. Especially on storytelling. Some people might disagree, but as usual, guys, if you do, let us know in the comments below. Have you seen the movie? Have you not seen the movie? We have seen it before you guys in the US, but it really doesn't matter. It's only about a week, and by now everyone's seen the movie by the time this video's gone up. And that's that. So we'll cut it short and we'll leave it there because this video's been long enough. Welcome to Planet Tyro. If this is your first time here, click the annotation on the screen to see more videos as we go through the movie madness months as we come into summer, and hopefully we can see all the summer movies, but that might not be the case. But stay tuned and you'll find out. Until then, we'll see you on the next one, people. Take care. Peace out.